As the sun rose over Hanoi, the city seemed to hold its breath. The streets bustled with their usual chaos, motorbikes weaving through traffic, vendors shouting their wares, but for Nguyen Tran, a 39-year-old Vietnamese entrepreneur, the world had narrowed to the confines of a prison cell. His fate hung in the balance, teetering between life and death. Nguyen had been accused of smuggling contraband, a crime punishable by death in Vietnam. The evidence was damning, packages intercepted at customs bearing his name. But Nguyen swore he was innocent, claiming he'd been framed by a rival desperate to eliminate him from the competitive import-export business. "The truth always comes out in the end," he had said during his trial, quoting his late father. Yet now, as he awaited execution, those words felt hollow. The countdown begins for days. Nguyen's family and friends had waged a desperate battle to save him. His wife, My Linh, had pleaded with government officials, invoking every favor she could call in. "A stitch in time saves 9, she reminded them, urging immediate action before it was too late. Activists joined the fight, flooding social media with hashtags like #SaveNguyen and #JusticeForTran. International organizations issued statements condemning Vietnam's harsh judicial system. Even diplomats from neighboring countries stepped in, urging clemency. But as the hours ticked away, hope began to dwindle. The final twist: at precisely 11 a.m., Nguyen was led from his cell to a holding room near the execution chamber. The air was heavy with tension, and every sound, the clink of chains, the shuffle of guards' boots, seemed amplified. "This is it," Nguyen thought grimly. The darkest hour is just before dawn. Suddenly, the door burst open. A man in a crisp suit entered, his face flushed with urgency. He carried a folder stamped with diplomatic seals and handed it to the prison warden. "Stop everything," he commanded. The warden frowned but opened a folder. Inside were documents proving that the packages bearing Nguyen's name had been tampered with, evidence provided by an anonymous whistleblower who worked for Nguyen's rival. The rival had confessed under pressure from investigators. Nguyen stared at the man in disbelief as he quoted an old Vietnamese proverb, "When eating fruit, remember who planted the tree." The whistleblower's courage had saved him. Justice restored. Within minutes, Nguyen was released from his chains and escorted back to his family. Tears streamed down My Linh's face as she embraced him tightly. "You reap what you sow," she whispered through sobs. The story didn't end there. News of Nguyen's ordeal spread like wildfire across Vietnam and beyond. It sparked outrage over corruption and injustice within the legal system. The rival who framed Nguyen was arrested and faced trial for his crimes. Nguyen himself became an outspoken advocate for judicial reform, using his experience to highlight flaws in Vietnam's justice system. "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere," he said during a televised interview, a quote borrowed from Martin Luther King Jr., but one that resonated deeply with his audience.